We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. Episode 59, Vikings Uncensored. Been a little bit of a time off here since we did the draft follow-up a little over a week, about a week and a half ago, but we're back for episode 59. The NFL schedule being released on Thursday, so we're going to break that down for you here in a little bit. Since we didn't do a Brunswick's best for jersey number 58. We will do both 58 and 59 later on in the show as well. But we're going to get started with a little bit of news here first. Couple things coming out today as we record. We're recording Wednesday and Thursday, both this week. Would have been done by now, but Brunswick just had to go hide in the basement because they were under a tornado warning. So.
That was crazy, man. I was not, well, I woke up this morning and honestly, the sky was green. So it was kind of ominous just waking up and seeing that. So I had a feeling something was in the bag today.
Yeah. So it kind of ironic with the 25th anniversary of Twister being this past Tuesday. So anyway, the kind of one major NFL type news anyway, former Jacksonville Jaguars kicker Josh Lambo has filed a lawsuit against the Jaguars to try to recoup.
Kind of ironic lawsuit.
Yeah, try to recoup his 2021 salary plus some emotional distress type stuff. Because Urban Meyer, and we talked about the story a while back, but when Urban Meyer was coaching in preseason, apparently he came up behind Lambo, walked over and kicked him in the ass and told him, "You damn well better make all your fucking kicks tonight." And then Lambo turned around and he said, don't you ever do that again. And Urban Meyer said, "I'm the head football coach. I'll do whatever the fuck I want around here."
Shame, Urban. A lot is changing. I mean, even since I was a kid watching football and the things that go on in football, we know when you play football, certain things go on.
Oh yeah.
Band of brothers, kind of in a way. Granted, it's changed for the better, but.
Oh, I remember when I was played high school football, we had a guy, he was a couple years older than me. This was when I was like a freshman or something like that. He was goofing around in practice or whatever, and the coach yelled at him to line up in his stance on the line. He walked up behind him and hauled off and booted his ass as hard as he freaking could too. And
yeah.
But back then, that was commonplace back then.
Exactly. Exactly. That was commonplace. Everything. We were probably one of the last of a generation, along with these NFL guys from the mid '90s, late '90s, that went through that kind of stuff and practice.
You can't do that stuff nowadays.
No.
Anyway, that we just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was kind of interesting. The news that just broke as we were waiting for Dorothy and Toto over there to come back out of the basement.
Come on, everybody in the storm center. What the
first round draft pick, Lewis Cine, has signed his rookie contract. It's a 4-year, $11.494 million deal, fully guaranteed. $5.54 million signing bonus. He will count 2.09 against the cap this year. And then, of course, being he was a first round pick, we get that 5th-year option with him at the end of the contract as well.
Now, speaking of which, now I don't know if you have this in regards to Lewis Cine news.
Mhm.
I talked to you a little bit earlier about how I was going through the news for the week this week.
Yep.
Do you have on your set list talking about Cine and how he thought the Buccaneers were going to take him?
I didn't, but yeah, he brought that up. I saw that earlier today as well.
Perfect.
That apparently the Bucs had called his agent or him directly or whatever and said, if you are still on the board when we pick at 27, we're taking you.
And this happens a lot, it seems like they're saying.
It always has. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then pick 27 rolls around and Tampa trades back out of it. So
A la Randy Moss, you know, back in the day with Dallas.
yeah.
So
I mean, there's stories of that going back forever. You know, a team
Yep.
tells a player, if you're there, we're going to take you. And then when it comes to it,
it pissed me off too, though, if I was a player.
Yeah. I mean,
Don't tell me you're going to take me and then pass me up.
right.
So yeah, I would absolutely hold a grudge there. I would be looking to play a little bit harder on the days that, you know, I would play 100% every week, but you know, give me that extra motivation to play a little bit harder if that was the case for me.
Yeah. I mean, getting somebody with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder is never a bad thing, really. So
Right. I think there might be a chip on Cine's shoulder as well, you know, honestly.
maybe a little bit. But then speaking about the rookies, the Vikings.com put out on Tuesday, or it might have been Wednesday morning, all of the numbers for the new players that have changed numbers, and then of course the both rookies and the new free agents. So kind of run through these here real quick. First, the rookies. Linebacker Brian Asamoah will be number 33, which is Dalvin Cook's former number.
Yep.
Andrew Booth Jr. will be 23. Lewis Cine gets his old college number 16.
Yep. I seen that. Now Booth was 23 in college too,
I
correct?
think so.
I believe so too.
Yep. Caleb Evans will be 21. Ed Ingram gets 67. Lowell gets number 63. Muse gets 34, which is kind of a weird number for a tight end, but I guess numbers
That is a very odd number for a tight end.
We're almost at the point anymore where numbers don't really matter for positions.
Yeah, right.
Other than like, it seems like the linemen are kind of still stuck in that range, but
pretty soon points won't matter anymore either.
Yeah. Then
be a fashion contest.
Adamiwu, the big O from Minnesota, he's going to be number 90.
Nice.
Ty Chandler will be number 32. And Jalen Naylor will be 83. So a wide receiver that actually goes with a old school wide receiver number. Then to the undrafted free agents, safety Mike Brown will be number 37. Bryant Kobach, the running back, my guy that I see big things coming
Toledo
from.
guy?
Yep. He'll be number 38. Luigi Villain, evil Luigi there. He'll be number 43. Tyrese Stevenson, the defensive tackle, he'll be 51. Linebacker Zach McLeod will be 59. The center Josh Sokol, he'll be 60. And wide receiver Thomas Hennigan will be number 89. So we got two of the wide receivers that went old school with the numbers.
That's cool.
The old Matthew Hatchett.
Matthew Hatchett, 89.
Yep. Then we got some of the returning players. There's actually a bunch of them that are changing their numbers. Alexander Madison will go from 25 to number 2.
Wow. Okay.
Cam Dantzler goes from 27 to 3. Dalvin Cook goes from 33 to 4. Now they had Jordan Berry list. Wasn't he number 6 last year?
He's a punter,
He's a
man.
punter. It doesn't matter, but he was on the list too. Cam Bynum will be 24. Perry Nickerson, I think 35. Zach Vargas, the fullback, is 36. Wyatt Davis is no longer area 51.
Wow.
He's going to be area 52 now.
Mm.
T.Y. McGill goes to 76. Patrick Jones II goes to 91. And Jalen Twyman will take 93.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Then the new guys that we had come in, veteran-wise, cornerback Nate Hairston, he'll take Cam Dancer's old number. He's going to be 27. Cornerback Chandon Sullivan, the guy that came over from the Packers, he's going to be 39. Zadarius Smith will take Anthony Barr's old 55. Jordan Hicks, the linebacker that we got from Arizona, he's going to be 58. Chris Reed, the guard that we came from Indy, he'll be 62. Guard / center Austin Schlottman. Schlotsky is going to be 65. Offensive lineman Jesse Davis will be 73. Defensive tackle.
Jesse's girl.
Defensive tackle Julian Taylor is going to be 78. Our favorite new name, Mr. Muntcake, is going to be 86.
You just got munted.
Yeah. And Harrison Horrible Harry Phillips will be 97, taking Everson Griffin's old number. So that's the quick list, all subject to change, of course, as players go by the wayside. If somebody wants to change numbers before the start of the season, but
who knows nowadays?
Yeah, it just a little bit of a primer for you guys to keep track of your scorecards when you're watching preseason football.
Like I said, preseason will be shapes.
Yeah.
Little designs.
3 squiggly lines.
Yep. Squiggly line.
Yeah. All right. Then a couple of important dates coming up. Of course, this weekend actually started today on Friday and we'll go through Saturday. The rookie mini camp is this weekend. So we'll get our first look at the rookies out on the field to kind of see how things go. And of course, some of the other, there'll be some non-UDFA invitees and some of the lower tier guys off the roster will be there and whatnot too. So then next week, OTAs begin May 16th and 17th. Then they have a day off and they go to the 19th. Then they have another round May 23rd, 24th, and 26th. And a third round on May 31st through June 1st.
It's going to get real spicy pretty soon. We're going to have an idea of what we're going to somewhat see.
I mean, granted, they're just going to be running around out there with those little foam bomber hats on again, probably. But at least we'll get to see these guys doing some drills and whatnot anyway. So
right, and purple and gold uniform.
Right. All right, now as of Thursday night, the full 2022 Vikings schedule has been released.
After like 40 missed releases throughout the day.
Yeah, there were, for supposedly holding all this stuff until Thursday night, it was all leaked out by mid-Thursday afternoon. We pretty much all knew who we were playing and when. But anyway, we'll start off. We have 3 preseason games again this year, as is the norm now. Preseason week 1, we go to Las Vegas to play the Raiders.
Nice.
If it wasn't a preseason game, I would consider flying down there for that game, but I'm not going to pay good money to go to Vegas just to watch the
it's a preseason game. That doesn't mean shit.
Watch a preseason game. Yeah. Week 2, and this has been rumored for the last couple of weeks to try to be another one of the joint practices up at TCO Performance Center. San Francisco 49ers come to town for preseason week 2.
Shanahan and KOC can sit there and rub each other's nipples over Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you'll see Shanahan sitting over there with those longing junior or middle school eyes watching the hot chick across the gymnasium at the school dance. And
in his gray sweatpants.
yeah. Then preseason week 3, we go to Denver to visit our old buddy George Payton and the Denver Broncos. Now, just a quick little news item that popped up Thursday here while we were waiting for the schedule to come out. Speaking of Denver, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy was arrested today for
Seen that.
as of release of time we're taping. I didn't see what the
No,
charges
they
were.
haven't said what it is yet that he did.
It was an interfering with something, some kind of an investigation or some sort of thing, but I don't know the specifics, so we won't get into it because we don't want to say the wrong thing here, I guess, basically. But he was arrested on Thursday and being held in jail for some unknown circumstances. So we'll kind of follow that and talk about next week if it's anything worthwhile. Anyway, on to the regular season. So now we'll roll through all 17 games here, and we'll each give our opinion on whether it's going to be a win, loss, whatever. And we'll see what we have for a initial record prediction from each of us. So week number 1.
Starting off hot.
We start off right out of the gates. That team from Wisconsin comes to US Bank Stadium.
What a great test this is going to be for Cock.
It absolutely
AOC.
will be. It absolutely will be. It's going to be right out of the gate. I mean, that's going to set the tone for the division right there.
He's going to have our guys ready, and I think it's going to be a hell of a game.
I think so too. And I mean, I think honestly, Green Bay could very well start a little slow. I mean, right now, as far as their wide receiver core goes, they have an unknown in Christian Watson and who would be their number 2, probably Lizard.
Probably Lizard, yeah.
And then a group of who knows. So I'm going to say the Vikings start out the KOC era with a win against Green Bay.
I agree. I absolutely have to agree with you there. And what a way to start the season, honestly, for a new head coach. And I mean, to have Green Bay come into your house and then just, it's going to be great. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good way to start the season, hopefully in our favor. So,
yeah. And I think that this could very well set the tone for how we expect year 1 to go for the Kevin O'Connell offense and the Ed Donatel defense.
right.
All right. Week number 2, and this was released earlier in the week, but the Vikings play game number 2 of a doubleheader on Monday night as they travel to the horse crap eating Philadelphia Eagles, where their fans will be chowing down on
Horse crap
outside the stadium. Probably not a game you want to go to decked out in your Vikings garb from the last few times. I mean, it's a pretty hostile environment.
This game kind of scares me a little bit at this point, initially seeing it. Philly's kind of in the same boat we are as far as they're kind of ascending a little bit. I mean, coming out last year, they made the playoffs, so.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, and
it's worrisome for me. More worrisome, more so than the game against the Packers a week prior.
Yeah, it's a Monday night thing. I hate to bring this up because the Kirkistans are going to jump all over it. Kirk Cousins is 1-9 in Monday night football games.
Support our quarterback.
Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying. I would like to say that we win this game, but this game scares me.
I think it honestly comes down to the play of Jalen Hurts completely. It does. That's my impression. Yeah. I believe that it's going to be hard for teams to stop our offense this year. It's going to come down to the 2 quarterbacks. Can Kirk Cousins
show the improvement on primetime games that he did last year? If he does, I think we win this game without an issue.
And is that Philly defense going to come around this year with those pickups in the draft that they got?
Yep. So what do you think on this? What are you picking?
I'm going to go with the loss here.
I
want to win every single game.
Yep.
But like I said, this game worries me. I'm going to go ahead and be fair and give us the L here at Philly.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. So after 2 weeks, we're both sitting at 1-1. Week number 3, we come back home to host the kneecap biting Motor City Kitties. Detroit comes into town. Now, by all accounts, Detroit had themselves a pretty damn good draft.
They did.
I do like what Dan, for all the jokes about Dan Campbell and everything else, I really like what he did with that team last year. That team played hard for him.
Yeah.
I think Detroit's going to surprise some people this year. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team or they're going to be
Super Bowl, baby.
But if we expect to be a contender in the NFC, this is a game we need to win. So I'm going to say it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to say we're going to beat Detroit at home.
Well, the first 3 weeks we get to see Christian Watson and we get to see Jamison Williams.
And so also, and of course, Aiden Hutchinson as well. So
exactly. Good point. I'm going to mark us up here with a win as well.
Okay.
But I do believe Detroit's going to be much better this year.
I think Detroit could very well be pushing for, they're going to be better than Chicago, guarantee. I'll almost guarantee it.
Yeah, Detroit's going to be, I look for Detroit to surprise a lot of people this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think Chicago's going to be a raging dumpster fire this year, but
I mean, Detroit could surprise people by, finishing the season at 500. So that's what I'm getting.
Oh yeah. 500 would be a definite successful season for Detroit, I think, but all right. So after 3 weeks, we both have the Vikings at 2-1. Week 4, we travel across the pond to jolly old England to take on the New Orleans Saints, which is considered a road game for us. It's a Saints home game.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Of course, the Saints are full of question marks this year. They have a new head coach. They have, as it stands right now, anyway, famous Jameis Winston will be their starting quarterback.
Famous Jameis.
There's a lot of questions with those guys. I honestly think we go over across the pond and we smack the crap out of the Saints.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I believe the UK or London has a lot of Vikings fans. There's a lot of Vikings fans across the pond.
And we've played well the 2 times we've been over there before as well. So
yep. So I look for us, even though it says we're on the road, I feel like this is going to be more of a home game for us. I look for a lot of the fans over there to be cheering for our team over the Saints. I could be surprised. Maybe that's not how it will be, but that's what I am thinking is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the Vikings here as well.
Okay. So we're both at 3-1 after 4 weeks. Week 5, we kind of thought, at least initially, that we'd get an early bye week here. Because that's kind of the way the league was starting to set things up, was to give the teams that were going on overseas the bye coming back. We don't get the bye in week 5, which I like because I thought week 5 was too early, but we get the next best thing. We get the Chicago Bears at home.
We should spank the shit out of these guys too.
I mean, Dakota Dozier's their starting guard. I mean, that and they didn't
really help themselves in any way along the offensive line.
Well, I mean, Ryan Poles tore the whole thing down to the studs. I mean, they signed Tajay Sharp this week.
We escaped one there, didn't we?
I think so. I mean,
right now,
there was a lot of people who thought Ryan Poles should be the general manager here.
We both were a little upset at first too. I mean, along with the majority of fans.
I thought, that he had potential to be a good GM, and maybe he's got a long-term plan over there that we just don't know about yet. But this year, I think their plan for this year is to be as bad as they possibly can be to get as high of a draft pick next year as they can. But anyway, coming back, Bears at home. If we can't beat the Bears, we have no business even thinking we're going to compete. So I'm going to give us a win there as well.
I don't know what the hell the Bears got going on over there, honestly. I have not been impressed with their offseason so far.
No.
To say the least.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're giving the Bears a win also? Or
no, I'm not giving the Bears a win.
Us a win against the Bears, I mean.
Yeah, we are definitely, I would hope.
All right. So after 5 weeks, we're both 4-1. Week 6, we travel down to South Beach and take on 2-yard Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins.
See, now I've heard that Tyreek is already complaining that Tua isn't hitting him deep.
Yeah, I heard something about that this week too, that he was complaining in their mini camps and whatever, that he's consistently being underthrown, which Tyreek is a burner, and we all have seen Tua cannot throw.
The only thing holding that team back is their quarterback.
I think it is
at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and, unless a miracle happens and Tua gets it together and his arm is able to throw it deeper, I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to take this one too.
We really should. I don't
want to see no Zimmer losses in this regime.
No, I don't trust Tua at all.
Now, if we had Zimmer as a coach still, I would be like, I don't know.
I think this would be a game that Zimmer would lose.
This would be a perfect game that would have a Zim loss written all over it.
Now, Miami's defense is decent. I mean, when Brian Flores was there, he had a defense that was fairly well put together, and Miami was not a terrible team last year. I think it'll be tight, but I think if the offense is humming like it should be,
you would hope so by that time in the season.
And with the changes we've made and Donatel coming in with his scheme, we can get the defense even to, mid pack in that 12 to 17 range.
This offense should be the best offense in the league next year. If this offense could be a top 5 offense under Mike Zimmer, imagine what it could be.
It was a top 5 in yards. It wasn't a top 5 in scoring. We need to be top 5 in scoring.
That would be great. That would be great.
I mean, this team should put up 30 points a game close to it on average anyway.
Yeah. Week after week after week after week. Against these middle of the pack defenses anyways.
Yeah. Because, with Mike Zimmer, it was a cardinal sin to score 40 points a game. I think O'Connell's going to try to do that as often as he can.
There have been stories about Zim being angry with our team scoring too much in a game. So,
yeah, because then his defense couldn't be the one to save the day. And 9 times out of 10, especially the last 2 years, his defense could not save the day. So
I want our offense to come out and just burn people. I want us to run up the score and not give any fucks this year, honestly.
Yep, I agree. Now this Dolphins game, again, I think it's going to be a tight game. Could go either way.
Or like a tiger.
I'm torn on this one. I'll give us a win for right now. So
yeah, just because we have the same records right now does not mean you can't pick us to win right now.
Right.
We end up with both the same records.
But I'm going off my gut feel here, and right now
I'm so early though. This is so early.
Right. I'm still riding the optimism of the new regime and all this other stuff. We haven't seen anything yet.
Right.
We kind of think, that, okay, it's going to be like a Rams type offense. We kind of know what maybe the defense will do from what Donatel's had before. There's optimism that this team can put it. We were a 500 team last year with a shit show running the thing.
Just a shit show in general last year.
Right. So, but we'll see. Okay. Week 7, we get our bye week, which is still a little early, but I like the bye week at 7 a lot better than I do at 5.
It's mid-season almost. I like the late buys myself personally.
Yeah, I would prefer to have
Because
a
then it
bye
gives the
around
players a
week
rest
10,
later
week
on in
11,
the
whatever.
season.
Yeah, but we get to buy in week 7. Week 8, we come back home again to face the mighty midget and the Arizona Cardinals. What do you think on this one?
If we can contain Murray and eliminate the big plays, we should win this one. If it was Zim coaching again, like I said, I would mark us out for a loss here. But with O'Connell, and with Murray not exactly being the happiest in Arizona, really, I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to win this one as well.
Yeah, here again,
You guys are a bunch of fucking homers. They're going to win every game. Seriously?
Yeah. We should have beat the Cardinals last year. And there again, it was the whole Zimmer thing. If our offense is humming again, and I mean, this will be the first game back, I believe, for DeAndre Hopkins, who, of course, got suspended for the first 6 games of the season.
He's going to be a little bit rusty.
He'll be rusty.
Without those performance-enhancing drugs, it could be a whole new ball game for him, too.
If it was in Arizona, I would chalk it up as a loss, but I think at US Bank, I think we'll pull it. So, hey, after 8 weeks, we're both sitting at 6-1. Which if we take
that's a hell of a good record.
If we get 6-1 after the first, I will take that any day of the week.
Oh yeah.
All right, then week 9.
The back half of the schedule gets a lot rougher. Honestly,
we're rolling into that right now. Actually,
yep.
Week 9, we travel to Washington to take on the Commies.
I think we get this one. Honestly, I really do.
This is one of those games where we should go in and take care of business. This should be a Kirk Cousins coming in and flipping the bird to Dan Snyder in Washington. This should be all that stuff.
That's what you would think.
But for all those reasons, I honestly think we're going to go in. We're going to come off of that win against the Cardinals. We're going to fall flat on our ass. This is going to be one of those games where we have at least one every year where we go out and we shit the bed. And I think this is the first game. This is the game this year that we go out and shit the bed.
The thing that keeps me from saying that, Rhino, is Washington is not sure what they have at quarterback right now.
Well,
so
they have Carson Wentz now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They do.
They went and got Carson Wentz.
That's right. And you know what? We've owned Carson Wentz. We have.
A lot of teams have owned Carson Wentz. I mean, but
a lot of teams have owned Carson Wentz. Outside of that first year, his rookie year, yeah, a lot of teams have.
Yep.
I completely forgot that he had went there. That defense can be nasty with Chase Young.
I like Washington's defense, and Riverboat Ron's got that. I mean, he's got that team into the playoffs the last couple of years with frickin' Taylor Heineke playing quarterback. So
yeah. Yep.
I'm giving us a loss on this one.
I'm gonna go ahead and give us a win here.
Okay.
I got us at 9-1 then.
I got us at 8-2. Or 7-2 rather. Because we had the bye week in there. All right, week 10, we travel to Buffalo to play the Bills. I'm just going to say it right out. We are going to get our asses handed to us by Buffalo.
I don't know if that will happen, but I'm going to go ahead and write us in for a loss here. Beans, we have not seen Buffalo's the stiffest competition up to this point on the schedule, in my opinion.
Buffalo, once again, very well could be the best team in the AFC.
They're definitely Super Bowl favorites for sure.
Yeah, they're one of the 2 to 3 best teams at the very least. They could be the best.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the teams that scares me for sure. I'm going to go ahead and give us a loss here as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I mean, we could surprise us and roll in and take care of business, but looking at it right now, I don't know enough about our team yet to say we have a chance.
Exactly. Until I can see exactly what Kevin is doing here with our team and Donatello's got going on defense, I can't really say with confidence that we're going to win this one.
Right. Like our buddies Drew and Ted and Chris Gates said last night on their live show with the schedule release, we're going to get our tits licked in this game. So
I think it all depends on if KOC has all of his eggs in a basket. If this offense is running and humming and can go up against any defense in this league, then, that might sway my opinion. I'm not going to say that we're going to go in there and lose automatically, but until I see what we are putting out for a product, I can't
right.
say that we're going to win this game. So I'm going to mark us down for a loss, but I'm not saying that we can't win this game.
No, I mean,
but I'm going to give us a
any
loss.
team can win any game at any time, but as of right now, I'm marking this up as a loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guarantee you we're not the only ones outside of Drew and Ted and those guys. I'm pretty sure most fans probably thinking the same thing. They're probably shivering a little bit at that thought.
Right. Okay, week 11. The Dallas Cowboys come to US Bank Stadium.
Fuck them boys.
Yeah, Coach Cletus and company down there.
I think we're going to spank the shit out of them this year. But that Micah Parsons, he scares the hell out of me, honestly.
Yeah, he does. And depends on if you get good Dak or bad Dak. I mean, they beat us with what the frick was his name last year?
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush, yeah. Of course, there again, that was a Mike Zimmer coach team versus a KOC coach team, so we don't know.
See, Zim always plays to keep the games close.
Yeah, Zim always coached not to lose instead of coaching to win.
I want the coach that's going to let it loose, like Mr. Dennis Green did back in the day. Just let it ride, man. Just let it fly.
Yeah. I got us riding a 2-game losing streak right now. I think this game, I think it's a 3:25 game, so it'll be a late game.
Yeah, and historically we don't play very well in that time slot.
No, but I think we figure out a way to get this one done. I'm going to give us a win on this one.
Yep, I'm going to agree. I'm going to give us a win too.
Okay. Then week 12, Thanksgiving. There had been rumors that we may end up playing either Dallas or Detroit in this slot. Does not happen either way. We get the prime time Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're the odd ones out here.
We get the prime time game where Darth Belichick and the Patriots and Mac Jones and whoever all else come to US Bank Stadium to play on Thanksgiving night.
We have not beat the Patriots since, I believe,
2000.
the early 2000s.
2000 was the last time we beat the Patriots.
Yeah. Over 20 years ago.
I'm not a Mac Jones fan, but
he's a lot like Kirk Cousins, but not on Kirk's level.
No, Kirk is better than Mac.
Yes. But he plays like Kirk a lot.
Kind of. He's one of those guys that's just going to kind of play it safe. He's not.
Yes.
He's not going to do a whole lot that's going to lose you the game. But he may not be the one that's going to take you out there and put the team on his back and go win you the game either.
There you go.
But
that's not always a bad thing if you get the right players around the guy.
I mean, Alex Smith made a great career out of
exactly.
it. Dilfer, Brad Johnson. I mean, there's been a lot of guys over the years who've been those high-level game managers that
bingo for sure. Yep.
But I think the stars are kind of aligning against us on this one. I don't like our chances against Belichick. I just don't. I'm saying we're going to lose this game.
I'll give us a win here.
Okay. Then week 13, we again have another home game against the consensus team that won the draft, the New York Jets. Now, I like what Robert Saleh is doing up there. We didn't expect much out of him last year. You got Zach Wilson now coming into his second year. They had a hell of a draft. They got quite a few players who projected to be very good.
Yeah, that first round was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
for the Jets to come in and beat us this game, things are going to have to be rolling for them pretty well, in my opinion.
And
they have to have some sort of identity, I believe, by that point in the season. Right. And if they don't know who they are and they're making mistakes that they always have, we're going to win this game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Jets are probably still a year or so away from being a legit contender. They're going to be better this year.
And I'm not even sure that they know that Zach Wilson is the answer at quarterback.
No, they don't. So, I mean, but I'm going to
give second year. I think they'll have more of a clear idea of the picture. But like I said, unless they got their shit together and they have some sort of identity, I don't see us losing this game to the Jets.
No,
it can be scary because the potential is there for them to be good.
Right.
It's just, are they going to be? I don't know.
Yep, and I agree. I'm giving us a win here as well. Okay, then week 14, we travel to the Motor City to play in the Kitties Litter Box in Detroit. Now this was a game that we lost last year to give Detroit their first win on the season.
Very Mike Zimmer-esque.
Yeah, it was, because at the end of the game, Mike Zimmer decided that he would rather not defend the end zone and play 20 yards off the receivers at the very end of the game instead of playing press coverage. And
but other teams from Minnesota's past and the Vikings have also had things like that happen as well outside of a Zimmer's regime.
Yeah.
So like we said earlier, it kind of makes me wonder, and it kind of makes, like you said too, the culture in the state. I don't know, but it seems to happen once or twice a year where we just lose games that we're not supposed to lose.
Mm-hmm. And this one could honestly go either way. Like I said earlier, I like what Dan Campbell's doing over there. I think, we had no reason or no business losing that game last year. Now I think it's going to be better
Detroit's
this year again.
New team this year.
Yep. Detroit is going to be at least third in the division this year, might be pushing for second. But I think with a more competent coaching staff, I think we do go back into Detroit and we do sweep the Lions this year. So I'm giving us a win on this one.
Ooh. I'm going to go the opposite direction and give us a loss in this one.
Okay.
We have a hard time with Detroit.
Yeah, it's all, the division games are always played close, but
yeah, they really are.
All right, week 15, we have the Indianapolis Colts coming to town.
Who they got quarterback there again now?
Matt Ryan.
Okay.
This, to me, is a game that I think we're going to lose. Indy has been good the last couple of years with questionable quarterback play. Last year with Carson Wentz, who was the only reason that Indy did not make the playoffs. And then the year before, of course, with the geriatric play of what's his name? Played from the Chargers.
Oh, Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers, sorry. So, Matt Ryan's no spring chicken, but I like the Colts team. They're a very good team.
We've said that last year too.
I like what Frank Reich is doing over there. I think he's a very good coach. I'm going to mark this off as a loss for us.
I think it's going to be close. If I go a loss here, it'll be our first consecutive losses back to back.
For you, yeah, I've had.
Yep. I'm going to go a loss here as well.
Okay. Then week 16, Christmas Eve, we get the New York Football Giants at home. Now here again, this is another one of these games that we should have absolutely no business whatsoever losing.
And we've had the Giants number now for some years.
Yeah. Now
that was Eli,
Yeah.
So.
Daniel Jones. They still have Daniel Jones, who they believe in so much they did not pick up his 5th-year option. There again, new regime up there, so things could be a little different, but
I don't look for good things happening in New York for the
I
GM this year.
I haven't seen enough out of the Giants making enough moves to I mean, I think the Giants are probably a year or two away. They're going to need a quarterback. They're going to need some more weapons and stuff like this. But this,
I think the Giants could honestly be one of the worst teams in the league this year.
It's very possible. But this is a game we have absolutely no business losing, so I'm going to give us a win on this one.
Yep, me as well.
Okay, then the last 2 weeks of the season, as is typical. Week 17, we travel to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field to take on that team from Wisconsin.
I'm going to say we sweep them this year. Sweep the pack this year.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to sweep them. I think a split is probably the best we can hope for. So I'm giving us a loss on this one. I don't like our chances going in there in January. Now it could be like it was a couple of years ago where the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour. We can't throw the ball. Then Dalvin Cook shows up and basically,
right. It could be the Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook show.
Right. So I have us on a 3-game losing streak here.
Wow. That's not a good way to go.
No, wait a minute. No. Week 16 is a win. Sorry. That was a Giant. Sorry. Whoops. All right. So, and then as has become the custom, although we switched locations this year, we close out the season against the Chicago Bears, but now we go to the
Bears,
friendly confines of Soldier Field.
The Bears.
The Bears.
I'm going to put us as a win here. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
By this time, the Bears are going to have packed in their tents and going to be done.
The only way we lose this game is if we're taking a week off before we go into the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be the only thing. If we by chance sewn up the division or at least secured a playoff spot and can't advance ourselves, then it's possible. But I could very well see this game coming down to maybe deciding whether or not we win the North or securing a playoff spot.
Seeding.
Yep. So I mean, I'm going to mark us down as a sweep for the Bears this year because they're going to be terrible. And if we lose to the Bears, it's going to be bad.
I think I got us at 4 losses or 5 losses.
So what do I got us at? I got us at 11-6.
Okay, and I think I got us at 12-5.
Yeah, and I think 11.
I think I had that last year too.
I think 11-6 is probably fair. I mean, we were 8.
Let's get to the end of the playoffs. Let's get
we
to
were
the
8-9 last year, and realistically, coaching cost us at least 3 games last year.
Easily.
So
I can't even remember how many dumbass awards they gave Zimmer last year. Almost every single game.
Yeah, it was most weeks. So, and of course, as always, we reserve the right to change our opinions on this stuff after we see how things happen.
Probably revisit this topic come close to preseason, possibly.
Right.
So,
but of course, like we mentioned a little bit ago, rookie minicamp is this weekend, and OTA start next week. So we'll get a little bit of a advanced
starting up, guys.
Advanced notice on how things go here, but anyway, that's the schedule. That's kind of where we're sitting right now, and like I said, we'll revisit it as we go along. So, okay, with that, the schedule is done and released, and so we are going to roll into another one of our classic beer commercials. So you guys head to the fridge, crack yourself open a fresh cold one, check this thing out, and we will be back in a minute.
Guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
Walt Smith was wrong, because when Muskrat Mike discovered gold, it got somewhat better. And when the Swedish bikini team came downstream, it got a little better. And when reinforcements of Old Milwaukee arrived, it most certainly got better. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It just doesn't get any better than this.
All right, we are back. Now, as we had mentioned earlier in the show, since we did not have a Brunswick's Best during our live show that we had, the collab with Drew and Ted from the Vikings Report following up the draft last Sunday, we're going to give you a double shot this week of the segment we are calling Brunswick's Best, to wear not only number 58 from last week, but also number 59 from this week. So what you got for 58 there, Lance?
All right, let's get this started. So for 58, I had to throw in a little bit of an honorable mention here. So I'm going to start out with Napoleon Harris as my honorable mention for 58. Obviously was acquired in the infamous trade, the Randy Moss trade to Oakland. Really, Red McComb's way of telling us all, fuck you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So he was part of that blockbuster trade, which sent Randy to Oakland, and we ended up getting the 7th overall pick and the 7th round pick in the 2005 draft. We used that pick to select, the greatest receiver of Vikings history in Troy Williamson.
Stonehands.
Richardson in the backfield. Tavares Jackson with time. Puts it up deep. He's got a man wide open. And Williamson dropped it. Troy Williamson dropped it.
The worst pass or the worst play that dude made, it was in Denver. I swear to God. Wide open.
Open by 30 yards and it boink.
Hits him in the chest. That was the end of that dude's chances in career here in Minnesota, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we end up getting quarterback Adrian Ward in the 7th round. So now, despite being traded for one of the premier players in the National Football League, Harris did not immediately live up to his potential following the season with the Vikings, his first year. In that first season, he was hampered with a lingering knee injury and saw limited time playing. However, in his second year here, he finished second on the team with 96 tackles, 3 interceptions, 3.5 sacks, and 2 fumble recoveries in 14 games. Harris was released following that season, and then after a year with the Chiefs, we actually needed him to come back. It was looking pretty bad there in the middle. We needed to reach out. I believe one of our guys got injured during the preseason, and we had to reach out and ask Harris to come back. He rejoined us on October 16th of that year. And Harris started in 5 of the 10 games he played and finished his second stint with the Vikings with 32 tackles, 1 sack, and also scored his first NFL touchdown after returning a fumble 27 yards in Week 12 versus Jacksonville that year. Despite a fairly decent and stellar performance while here, the Vikings did not hold on to him after that season, and then shortly after that, he ended up retiring. I liked Napoleon Harris when he came here, regardless. The trade we did not get the right amount back for that trade, but I was still a fan of the player. And while he was here, he was stellar. He wasn't anything spectacular, but he did his job. So I gave him an honorable mention here. Now, these next 2 guys on this list, I'm not very familiar with because they played decades before I was even born. But I went back, I did the research, and this is what I got for your number 3 on the list to kick it off. We got Rip Hawkins. He was part of the Vikings' first draft class in 61. He started 66 of the first 70 games in Vikings history at linebacker. And in that time, he was able to collect 12 interceptions, converting 3 of those into touchdowns. And he was also named to the Pro Bowl in 1963. So by all accounts, this is a draft pick that they hit on when they took him back in 61. Worked out, had a great career for us, and also made a Pro Bowl in 63, like I said. So that puts Rip into the 3 spot for me. Moving forward, at number 2, also another old schooler here, we have Wally Hilgenberg, excuse me. He actually started his career with the Lions back in 64, playing 3 seasons with them before coming to Minnesota in 68. He finally assumed a full-time starting job here in 1969 and missed just 3 starts over the course of his 8 seasons. He reverted to more of a backup role starting in 1977 and remained with the team in that capacity until he retired from the National Football League after the 1979 season. While he may have been overshadowed by more prominent members of the Vikings defense of the time, nobody doubted how important Hilgenberg was to those great Vikings defenses of the glory years. In addition to being an outstanding tackler, Hilgenberg also intercepted at least one pass in 6 consecutive seasons. So that puts the man, Mr. Hilgenberg, number 2 on my list. I got it that time.
Hey, that's pretty good. Third time's a charm, I guess.
I guess. You know me and last names.
I know.
And yourself as well at some points.
Yeah.
But anyways, coming in at number 1, a lot of you, if you think real hard, this is pretty fresh. Well, to me, it's pretty fresh in my young 36 spry years. Easy Eddie McDaniel, number 1. He was a 5th round pick of the Vikings out of Clemson back in 92. McDaniel worked his way into the starting lineup in his 3rd season in the NFL and remained the primary starter at middle linebacker for the Vikings from 1994 until 2001. Stellar, very stellar. He started every game through the end of the 1999 season and missed his 3 starts overall before finishing his career after the 2001 season. He played his entire career. Amazing. McDaniel made the Pro Bowl in 1998, but like Hilgenberg, did not receive a lot of individual accolades over the years, and at least not in terms of awards anyways. He was the NFL forced fumbles co-leader in 95. Minnesota Vikings All Mall of America field team, and he was one of the 50 most memorable Vikings as well. So that, my friends, is number 58 for you. Eddie McDaniel coming in at number 1.
All righty. I love me some Eddie Mack. The other guys, again, Hilgenberg.
Eddie Mack,
Hilgenberg was just at the end of his career when I first started. I really don't remember him, but I mean, I've seen his, tape on him and stuff in the old games I've watched and that kind of stuff. But all righty, let's see who you got.
I tie Eddie one last thing.
Sure.
I tie Eddie McDaniel right in there with Dwayne Rudd. When I think of Ed McDaniel, I think of Dwayne Rudd. When I think of Dwayne Rudd, I think of Ed McDaniel. They're like brothers, man, in my opinion. They played a lot of their careers together, and they were stellar tandem at those 2 linebacker spots for us for numerous years. So,
and Eddie still does a fair amount of stuff. I know Tommy Kramer has him a lot of times for his fan parties and stuff that they have down there in the cities and all that kind of stuff. So,
yep. And he was in the thick of it here when Denny was here. We were looking at getting the Super Bowls, and he was part of that first core team that I really, really looked at, and became a Vikings fan of. So, it was good. It was a good time to be a Vikings fan, especially when he was part of the linebacking core too. So,
yep. All right. Who you got for Who you got for number 59 now then?
All right, coming in at 59. So, this first guy on my list could honestly be, he comes in at number 3. There wasn't a lot here as far as substance goes for this number. So my number 3 on this list could also be, asterisk as a honorable mention as well. But I plug him in at 3. So number 3, Heath Farwell. Amazing. Honestly, in my opinion, probably one of the best special teams players that we had here at that period since Chris Walsh.
He was a badass at special team. There's no question about that.
So what I got here for him is he played for us from 2005 to 2010. But he did go on after leaving the Vikings. He went on to win a Super Bowl with the Shithawks. Farwell was signed as an undrafted free agent in 2005 out of San Diego State. Was named the team's MVP for the Vikings at the end of the 2006 NFL season. In the team's preseason opener in 2008, Farwell suffered a torn ACL in his knee and was placed on season-ending injured reserve. Farwell received a $7.5 million contract over 3 years from the Vikings. He was actually voted into the Pro Bowl as the special teams player. So that's awesome. Special teams starter in the Pro Bowl in 2010. On September 3rd, 2011, Farwell was waived by the Vikings, and then also, like I said, went on to the Seahawks and won a Super Bowl there. I like the guy. He had a couple of starts here. He didn't really get a good look on defense, but we really, I think everybody loved what he brought to the table.
He made his mark in special teams, and I believe he's actually a special teams coach in the league now someplace.
He is coaching. Yes, by the way. Yep. Okay, number 2. Now these last 2 guys I am aware of, but I didn't get to watch them in person. I wasn't live. Don't blame me. So I did go back though, research, and this is what I came back with. Coming in at number 2, I have Lonnie Warwick. Now he played for the team from 65 until 72. Warwick actually went undrafted and spent a year working for the Southern Pacific Railroad before getting back into football. He started about half the games the Vikings played in his first season, and then started every game at middle linebacker for the Vikings from 66 through 70. He had a nose for the ball, collecting 12 picks from his middle linebacker position, and also returning and blocking a punt for a touchdown. He battled through knee injuries in 71 and 72, and then left the Vikings to play for 2 seasons with the Falcons before leaving the NFL. While he didn't get a lot of awards for his play, Joe Kapp once called Warwick the meanest man in football when they were teammates. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Lonnie Warwick. So that brings us to our number 1 guy. Yep. Can you guess who it is? No.
Why don't you surprise us?
Matt Blair.
If it wasn't going to be Matt Blair, I was going to turn around and try to find that tornado to come take your house down.
Oh, fucking Matt Blair. So Blair grabbed onto his starting linebacker spot in 1976 and became one of the mainstays of the Minnesota defense in the post-Purple People Eaters era. He collected 16. He collected 16 interceptions. Oh yeah. For the Vikings in his career, and made just as large an impact on special teams. And he is currently 3rd in NFL history with 20 blocked kicks. That's nuts.
That man could block a kick like nobody I've ever
20
seen.
blocked kicks.
Because Blair was one of the guys that was, one of the big names when I first got to the point where I could start watching and understanding the Vikings and stuff. And I always loved watching that guy.
20 blocked kicks is uncanny. For one guy to get 4 blocked kicks would be good. This guy had 20.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, Blair was a 6-time Pro Bowl player, having gotten that honor each year from 77 until 82. He was named the first team All-Pro in 1980, and is also a member of the Vikings Ring of Honor. And he was named one of the 50 greatest Vikings of all time. So, Mr. Blair, you wore number 59, but this week you are number 1. Thank you.
All right. That's really about all we've got for this week. Again, want to thank everybody for watching. Keep in mind to check out all the rookie minicamp and OTA stuff. And when we are back next week, we will break down any news and whatnot that comes out from that. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you guys for taking part in the live chat that we do every Friday with the show release. We enjoy talking to you guys. We really appreciate you, all the regulars and the new people. I mean, just sticking with us for 59 episodes now. We've come a long way. We got a long ways to go, but if you are new to the show, or if you've been a long time watcher and have not yet taken that plunge, make sure you hit that little red subscribe button down there below. It helps us out a ton. Helps us with the YouTube metrics, gets us out there in front of more people, and helps us build the show.
Helps us with production value.
Exactly. Again, if you're out on the road, the audio version is available on all of your standard audio podcast channels. So check us out there. With that, why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
I'm alive. I'm a survivor, Rhino. I survived things. As being from Minnesota, you have to be a survivor.
Staying alive.
You know what? This state and its pro sports teams outside of the Minnesota Lynx is going to make me die a young man.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard being a Minnesota sports fan. It really is. They don't make it easy. I love my teams. I follow the Vikings the hardest, obviously, a la Vikings Uncensored.
Right.
But I'm not, blind-eyed to the other sports teams that we have here. The Wild are disappointing me. The Twins, however, are starting to pick it up a little bit, which I'm
right.
loving.
But it's regular season. The Twins don't. If the Twins make the playoffs, then they'll lose their 19th playoff game in a row.
To the Yankees.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Or the Astros.
Yep. So, anyways, let me get along here. So, another small thing I wanted to hit on. I don't know if you've seen Kuechly's boneheaded comment that he had made about the secondary here in Minnesota being the best secondary in the league.
Kuechly got hit several times in the head and had to retire. So hey, if we can become the best secondary in the NFL, I'm all for that. It might be
Absolutely.
a little bit unrealistic, but we've got nowhere to go but up from where we were. So
absolutely. Okay. All right, fellas. Well, with that being said, if I can remember what the hell it was I wanted to say, well, we'll find a way to put it in here. We'll see you next Friday, guys.
all right.
Have a good one.
You guys have a good weekend.
Let's go.